Hi Pisces, and welcome to your February 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. A couple extra cards came out, and then we have two oracle cards that we'll read at the end, as well as a Mudra card, so there's quite a bit to get to. We'll get started going through the main spread one by one, though. Definitely seems to be a love theme for sure here, but we'll see if anything else comes out as we go along. In the main situation position, we have the Two of Cups. So usually I see this as, some people view this as a soulmate card. I wouldn't go that far personally, just in my experience, but usually at the very least, most of the time does represent starting a new relationship. It's actually a Cancer card, represents the first 10 degrees of Cancer. So maybe, let's say, last month, I should say, I'm recording this towards the end of January, but back when the Cancer full moon happened, towards the end of December, maybe that's when this connection started. For example, that could be a possibility for some of you because that full moon was in those degrees of Cancer. But this could just, again, be pointing to the start of a new relationship. And it could also be creative projects sometimes as well, or even just the merger of the masculine and feminine energy within one person. But just looking at the cards in the spread overall, this definitely has a relationship vibe, in my opinion. And in the Challenger obstacle position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is actually the court card for Virgo, which is your opposite sign. So with this in the Challenger obstacle position, that could just be pointing to the fact that you might have to wait until the full moon in Virgo, which is around the 20th of February, I believe, give or take a day or two. You might have to wait until that full moon in order to see that progress with the relationship. But this could also just be saying in general, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving of the knights. So it could just be saying that you feel like this offer has taken a long time, right? Like maybe you've expected to already have a relationship going for you and it just hasn't quite taken off yet. This could just represent, you could actually be dealing with a Virgo as well, obviously. That's a possibility, or any earth sign for that matter, Taurus or a Capricorn. But yeah. Most likely that's the main vibe that I'm getting, though, is that it could just be saying that either this offer has been slow coming in, or as far as when the relationship would kick off would be around the time of that full moon, which makes sense. All right, in the foundation position, though, we have the Five of Swords. So this represents ego conflicts. Usually the way I describe it, this is because we've all been there at one point in our lives, some of us multiple times, where you have an argument, you know that nothing productive is going to come out of it, but you still do it anyway. You know what I mean? It's one of those energies where, and that's why it's usually considered an ego conflict, because it's like, all right, if nothing productive is going to come out of the conflict to begin with, and you knew it going into it, why'd you even bother having it, right? This could also just mean competition as well, though. Usually you look at the Five of Wands as more of like a more innocent type of competition. So if this was a competition, someone might have done something a bit underhanded to get the upper hand. But, for some of you, it could be maybe the person you're interested in. Maybe they had multiple people who were interested in them. So, you pretty much were going in to try to win them over, essentially. And that could be what this energy is pointing to. This could just also be a past relationship that you've dealt with. Maybe you recently got out of a relationship, because in the past position, we have the Ten of Cups. So for me, to have this in the past position, but then have the Two of Cups in the main situation, for some of you, this could represent that maybe some of you were married at one point and went through a divorce, or at the very least in a very long-term commitment that might have fallen apart, possibly even due to that reason, and maybe now there's someone new coming along. But sometimes I also view this as the way I describe it is as great as this picture may seem, right? It looks like a happy couple and possibly two kids of theirs, also very happy. You see those cups up in the rainbow, right? So to me, the way I think of that is, it might be a bit of a naive vision of love, So it's like, all right, this is what you might view the situation as, but it might not be very realistic, or this might be what your expectations were, but maybe those weren't very realistic. And this is a Pisces card as well, by the way. Represents the last 10 degrees of Pisces. So for those of you born, like let's say mid-March, maybe this might resonate for you a bit more. But yeah, that's the main vibe I'm getting there, that some of you were in a serious committed relationship at one point. And it's possible maybe for some of you, you're reconnecting with the same person. Maybe you guys split apart, but now you're reconnecting. But I'm getting more of a vibe that you were in a serious relationship with one person, that's completely done, out of the picture, and now you're starting a new relationship. Or this was just the ideal dream you had in the past of, oh, this is what I'm expecting my love life to look like. All right, in the present situation, we have the Lover's card. So like I said, there's just definitely a love theme all over the place. This could just be pointing to a Gemini that you're dealing with, though, because this is the major arcana card for Gemini. But yeah, if this is just the connection itself, to me, I'd view this, okay, if we were going to use the soulmate word, I would say definitely more so than the Two of Cups. This would be an indicator of that. I usually view the devil as the karmic relationships because the two people are chained together essentially, whereas this, it looks very similar, with the exception of they're not chained together. So to me, it's like, all right, there's no karmic undertie, it's just a natural bond, you just naturally gravitate toward each other. So yeah, I mean, again, this could be the present energy that you're dealing with. Sometimes this is viewed as making a decision between two options as well. But like I said, just the card taken by itself is one thing, and even when it's taken by itself, it's often viewed as a relationship, love-related type card. But with the spread as a whole, this definitely seems to be pointing to relationships. As far as your third house goes, because Gemini is the natural ruler of the third house, so that's the next thing I would think of. Well, you will have Mars going into your third house around, like, right after Valentine's Day, I think. So that could be what that's pointing to as well. Maybe you're just going to be more communicative, and maybe in terms of love, of course, that's a possibility, but that could just be what that's pointing to. And that could also be pointing to a timeline there as well. All right, in the near future position, we had two cards come up, and that's the Queen of Swords and the Eight of Swords. So this could be pointing to you dealing with a Libra. This is actually the court card for Libra. And obviously it could also be a Gemini or an Aquarius, so just someone who's taken on this energy. People view this person as cold a lot of times. This is how they refer to this person, sometimes the Ice Queen. This is just someone, yeah, maybe they've been hurt before, but they definitely have that view towards fairness. So, they might not be the easiest to win over, but they will treat you fairly. What I'm looking at here, though, is the fact that if we look at the direction she's pointing in, she's pointing right to the card in the environment. And then with the Eight of Swords, let's not overlook the second card there. This could just be saying that they feel a bit stuck. It's like they want to move forward. This is most likely another person, but it could be you as well. Let me just say that. So it's like whoever this person would be in the reading for you, like I said, I'm definitely vibing probably 80% chance it's someone else. It's like they want to move forward, but they just feel stuck. And when we get to the environment card, I'll talk a little bit more about what I think that may be pertaining to. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Three of Cups. So you seem to be in a celebratory mood, you know. I mean, if this is how this is actually playing out, then that would be understandable. But I mean, sometimes I look at the Three of Cups as well as more of like a family tie or just relationships you might have had for many years, you know. This is another Cancer card, actually, 10 to 20 degrees of Cancer. Um, this could even just be saying that this is when you meet someone, you know, maybe you go out to party with your friends, and in doing so, you actually end up meeting someone, you know, that's not normally the typical way that someone would stumble upon a long-term relationship, but it's certainly possible. Um, but this could just be you celebrating the fact that you're in the new relationship. That's another possibility. Um, some people refer to the Three of Cups as a third party situation. I don't really get that vibe there. I mean, maybe if it was in the reverse, that's one thing, but I don't really get that energy from here at all. And everything I see in the spread doesn't seem like there's anything shady going on either. I mean, all these cards are in the upright. Yeah, there's that Five of Swords actually, so I guess I shouldn't say it. I don't see anything shady, but I don't think that has anything to do with like third party type stuff. All right. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Four of Wands. So this is a card that points to stability. This is actually an Aries card, the last 10 degrees of Aries. So, you know, basically early on in the month of February, you will have Mars moving through those degrees before it goes into the sign of Taurus around mid-month. So that could just be saying when this gets locked down. You know, it could be early in the month for you. Like I said, I got the feeling it could be more with that full moon in Virgo, which is closer to the end of the month. But this is possible as well. There's not a huge difference in the timeline between those two. But what I was saying is, you know, looking at this and how the woman's pointing right to that, and the card underneath that being the Eight of Swords, that gives me the feeling that it might be the other person that, you know, I wouldn't say they might be a commitment phobe necessarily, but, you know, maybe it's taken them a long time to get to this point. So maybe this is someone that you've been dealing with for a while. And maybe that was, you know, maybe that's what the conflict was about. Maybe you were asking them, hey, what's going on? You know, maybe you were asking them for a commitment, and that turned into a bit of an argument. So maybe things broke down for a bit, you know, and then now they're coming back together. So maybe that Two of Cups just is pointing to a reset in the relationship, if you will. And then actual pretty steady forward movement now, if that's the case. And again, you know, that would support that Five of Swords energy, like I was saying too, is that, you know, maybe there were multiple people that were trying to get with this person. And, you know, maybe they were playing the field in that regard. And maybe, you know, now they're deciding, okay, you know, reluctantly, it took them a while to finally get there, right? With that Eight of Swords underneath the Queen of Swords, saying that, all right, they feel stuck. They're a little shy about committing. And I mean, the Page of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck too. So this could just be pointing to their energy too, saying that they're nervous about asking you. It could be them who's nervous to ask you out. That's certainly a possibility. Or to, you know, propose for some of you if you're already in a long-term relationship. It could be that they're just nervous about that. You know, not that they're anti-relationship or anything, just that they're nervous about asking you to take that next step with them. But either way, with these two energies here, it looks like it's definitely going to work out well. So there's that. And I should definitely emphasize that because in the hopes or fears position, you guys have the Death card. So I'm going to assume that this is a fear. So, you know, you might just fear like, all right, things are going really well. You know, when's it going to go sideways, right? You just might be a bit cynical or just, you know, worried that, all right, this looks too good to be true, basically, one of those types of situations. But I'm not really seeing any deceptive energy here. So, you know, the main, like I said, the main vibe I get with that Five of Swords, which usually isn't necessarily deception. It could just be someone, you know, using certain tactics to win an argument or something along those lines, or to win someone over, but that's about it. With that though, I just have a feeling that it's more you fearing like, okay, like this is too good to be true. What's something's gonna go wrong, and you want to be careful to stay out of that because you might end up bringing that energy on subconsciously. Um, or it could just be saying again, going back to this Knight of Pentacles energy. Like I said, if you already feel that the offer's been slow, right, that they've been moving so slow to make you the offer, and this is the energy they're in where they feel a bit stuck about finally making that move. That could be you just feeling like, really, like, are they ever going to make the offer, or am I going to die waiting for it, right? But I always tell people, whether it's a good card or a bad card in that position, it's just the hopes or fears. So it doesn't point to that energy necessarily playing out during the month. It's just more of something that's on your mind. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Seven of Wands. So again, this is another indicator that gives me a vibe that whoever this is you're dealing with, they have a lot of other people who are interested in them. But the way I always explain this card is having the upper hand. You see the other six wands. It looks like they're probably trying to attack him. If you look at his facial expression and his stance, like looks like he's trying to fend them off. But I always say this is having the higher ground type card. If we look clearly, he has a higher vantage point than they do, which will give him the advantage. Whereas if they were all on equal footing and all six of them were trying to get to him, it'd be a much tougher go at it. So this could just be saying that, going back to this dynamic again, same thing, saying that, you will win this person over. Or for some of you, like I said, it could be you. You could be you who has multiple suitors, and then whoever is in this position actually is the one who ends up winning you over. They end up being chosen by you basically out of all the people. That could go either way. But either way, like I said, it looks like you're celebrating. This is a celebratory card here, so it looks like you can't go wrong as far as that goes. This, I wish I had messages other than love for this reading, because, I don't generally do just love readings, but, it seems like this is just a pretty clear theme here. So hopefully that's good news for most of you, especially those of you who are single, but we'll look at the oracle cards and see if they add any additional layers to the reading. So we have Go the Distance. Here's the artwork for it, and that's number 47. So just that card title alone almost gives you the impression of moving towards commitment there too, right? But we'll see what the messages say. All right, endurance, strength, the long haul. The Oracle's message: to bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there is no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry you all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. So what I thought of as I was reading that, I thought of, again, like I was saying, maybe this was just the ideal image you had in your head. Maybe you thought, oh, I thought I'd be married with 2 kids by now, right? If we just go purely on what the artwork is there, and you feel like you're just at this 2 of Cups phase, and you're like, oh, like, can this thing move forward already? So maybe you're getting a little antsy there. Maybe, like I said, that certainly could be what the argument was about. Maybe someone was a little bit slower moving towards commitment than you were, or that you would have liked them to have been. And now this month, finally, you get that forward movement you were waiting for. Chiron's been in your sign for years, and it left for a bit, went into Aries, and came back to your sign. And this month, in February, I should say, during February, it's going to be leaving your sign for good. Basically, unless you live a very long time, you won't have it back in your sign in this lifetime. So that could be part of it too. Chiron transits, even though it's in your first house and it wasn't in your seventh, that could have just caused some need for healing in all areas of life since it was in your first house. So you still have Neptune there, which could also put a bit of a fog over things, but Chiron moving out of your sign for good is a pretty big deal, though. So maybe that's what was going on with some of these delays. All right. And then the relationship message says you are either in or are calling in a harmonious relationship that can stand the test of time. For better or worse, as you ride the ups and downs and even strain, break yourself, and are remade in new growth, you are being redeemed by the power of regeneration. Harmony does not mean there will never be a wrong note played, but that the relationship is marked by endurance and dedication to overall unity. A new song can be written, an instrument can be tuned, and the symphony of love will play on. Listen with your heart. Isn't it magnificent? Okay, so when I read the part that says relationship marked by endurance and a dedication to overall unity, that just made me think of, this card, like I said, usually represents Libra, and Libra is about balance and fairness. So, that could just be what it's saying there. Even if you feel that the relationship wasn't moving along at the pace you would have liked, at least it was always moving forward, however slow it may have been, right? With the Knight of Pentacles at the bottom there, or rather in the challenge position there. All right, and like I said, this main spread, I ended up focusing just on the relationship vibe because I wasn't getting much else, but we'll read the prosperity message. It says, your most precious dreams are not about instant gratification, but enduring prosperity. This is a time to think long term and engage in continued action. You will experience momentum building as you translate the ebb and flow into slow and steady movement forward. Your efforts, ideas, and hard work now can lead to greater riches than you can imagine. Stoke the fire so that an uninterrupted stream of energy is available to support you in all the phases of manifestation. Be assured that you are in the right place right now. All right, so like I said, unfortunately, I wish I did have more of a vibe than just relationships with that main spread, but that's really all I was really seeing there. But hopefully, for those of you who are looking for a little bit more of a financial twist to your reading, hopefully that message helped you out with that. All right, and then I have another Oracle deck that I started using last month that I'm using again, and you actually got two cards that came out from that one. So we have two messages to look at there. This was the one that came out first, and that's Wombat Spirit. It says, be at home. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 68, if that has any significance for you. All right, it says, Oracle message. Burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well-fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well-being is the truth of life. Wombat Spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all your experience without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life, with your family and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well-being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. So the being comfortable in your own skin part, that to me almost reminds me of what I was saying about Chiron having been in your sign for years now and finally leaving for good. Maybe that's what that transit was about for some of you too, getting comfortable in your own skin and, healing from wounds you might have been carrying around for a long time, that were just ready to finally be put away. And the other message we have was you got the starfish spirit. It says open to infinite possibility. There's the artwork for it there. And the number for this one is 59. So take a look at that message next. All right. It says stretched out on the beach, the starfish opens fully to the rays of the sun, to the power of potential. As you look out toward the horizon, do you open up to infinite possibility? Spirit is the source of opportunities beyond your wildest imagination and ensures endless possibilities are available. At this time, Starfish Spirit urges you to stretch past the limits of your everyday perception and comfort zone to dream of bigger things and imagine with even greater hope and faith, for miraculous potential is shining down on you. Feel it, bask in it, and open yourself to be filled with inspiration. This is a very fortunate sign that Starfish Spirit has come to remind you of your infinite potential. So that's a pretty cool message there. And the North Node, actually, before I forget to mention that, did move into your 5th house recently. So, the 5th house is the house of creativity. Sometimes children, also new love affairs, but definitely creativity. So, maybe that transit's going to really help you guys get some new things off the ground. And, hopefully getting that extra oracle card was just to make up for those of you who were looking for something other than a love reading, give you a little more extra guidance in other areas there. But the last thing we have here is the Mudra card. And the card you got was the Shukri Mudra. So for those of you who didn't see these when I had first debuted them last month, basically what a mudra is it's a hand gesture or a pose that you would hold. Basically, usually you want to hold it for a minimum of 5 minutes. Some of them they recommend 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That is longer than I personally would hold the pose, or the gesture, but that's up to you totally. And basically what they help with is different blockages in life. To help clear blockages. You would do them while you meditate. And the keyword for this one is attunement. And I'll just turn it to the back so you could actually read the information it has on it. So, if you want to take a screenshot or whatever. Alright, and it says here, balances the 5 elements, bolsters immunity, rejuvenates the organs and blood, soothes the nerves, evokes a peaceful state of mind. So hopefully that resonates for some of you and you get something out of it. I'll actually put the name of the mudra in the video description in case you guys wanted to do a Google search to find out more about it, or maybe even they might even have videos on it on YouTube. But yeah. If you guys want a personal reading with me, you can check out the About section of my channel for more info on that. And you can follow me on Instagram too, where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology. But if not, I'll see you guys next month. And happy birthday to those of you who celebrate towards the end of the month. Alright, bye.